I'd like to call Property Management Committee to order. First order of business, approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I reviewed the minutes and I move for approval.
Second.
Uh-oh. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's get back and I missed one. Let's do the roll call, but I think everybody's here. You want to go ahead?
Commissioner Cook? Yes. Commissioner Gammon?
Present.
Commissioner Dodd?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Buchanan? Here. Commissioner Gooch? Here. Chairman McAdoo?
Here.
All are present.
Okay, first order of business on the agenda is Goldstein Building.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. You had tasked my office, and along with Adam, Mr. Dodd, asked him to come up, and I'm going to start out what you had tasked us to do, but we've been kicking this down the road for quite some time, dealing with the Goldstein Building. If you recall, we were kind of shocked when we were looking at almost $900,000 to put in an HVAC system into an older building. So we wanted to look at all the options that are available to us. So before Mr. Mankin left, he had kind of reached out to Rock City, who is going to be building our one-stop facility. And we asked them if they could give us some professional courtesy and come over and kind of give us an idea of what it might cost to, number one, remodel the Goldstein's building, totally bring it up to Class A type office facility. And what all would be involved in that. Number two is to sell the Goldstein's building and take that money and put it towards building a building on the corner where the library is, over the parking garage, which the county owns. So we've gone through that process with Rock City, and they've been kudos for them and working with Adam since he came in after Ben had retired, and we finally have got some numbers for us to ponder and think about of what it's going to cost us. I had Rachel put that on your SharePoint on your tablet, so if you can go to that, we'll kind of go through this process and ask questions as we go. Adam and I will kind of take you through, but we're looking in the Goldstein's building. We've got a little over 30,465 square feet. Much of that square footage, I'd say maybe even a third of that square footage, is unusable. If you go down the hallway, it's just unused space. If you get in front of the elevator going up steps, it's just unused space. So but the basement level downstairs, it's a lot of storage. That whole bottom basement right now is being used by the election office, and I believe Tanya, I don't know if you have storage down there as well, a little bit, and I think, Adam, you all use it as storage as well, and finance over here uses it for storage. So it's provided a lot of good space for us. And what we want to do is not just look, what I ask you all to do as we go through this process, look at the comparison, which brings us up to the 30,000 square feet. Now, is that 30,000 square feet, I want you to look long term. Is that going to take care of our high growth needs for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Or is that just going to get us to where we are with just new furnishings on the inside if we remodel? So keep that in mind as we go through this process. So looking down on that kind of second paragraph there, from Rock City Construction to renovate the first and second floor to Class A office space. So you've got 20,310 square feet on first and second floor, and then 3,595 in the basement. We would have to kick in, this is all estimated numbers, okay? $700,000 owner's expense, meaning we, the county, would have to step up and pay on top of this number right below that, or you'd add the 700 to the 3595 218, because that would cover all of our soft cost, engineering, architecture, fees, etc. Right? Fixtures, FF&E, would all, that's an estimated cost. So we're looking at a total of about 4.3 million to go in and totally redo that building. We've got to break down on all the things. I think in this quote, they estimated the HVAC to be about 500,000 as opposed to 900,000. So that was the savings we saw right there. So if we were to move across the street to where the gazebo is and let that stairway from the parking garage empty into a building, and here's what we're researching right now. It was when I came on the commission in 1990, I was tasked by then county executive John Mankin to go and meet with Roger Haley, Joe B. Jackson, Richard Reeves at that point, and they were beginning to build because we owned part of the parking garage, we owned part of the library, and we were going 50-50, and then they were building City Hall. But they said, if you ever want to build a city building, you may want to go ahead and put the money into it now to where you can come up through that to the gazebo. You remember that, Mr. Chairman? So I came back and they estimated it was going to cost us $350,000 to put in support structure. And the best I recall, it was to support a 6-story building. And when we got ready to build 319 down here, went back and talked to the city, and the city wouldn't have anything to do with it. They didn't want us wrecking their landscaping. So that's why we went down to 319 and built that building as opposed to a 6-story building over here closer to the downtown area. So fast forward, if we are thinking about building just a 2-story building, because we're still researching to find out if support piers were actually put in there to handle a 6-story building. We're going back in the minutes to 1990, 1991, 92 to discover that. But to build a 2-story building equal with what square footage we have today in the Goldstein's building, we're at 20,310. You can see the numbers. New construction, we're looking at almost 11 million as opposed to 4.3 million. So this is what's before you that we need to take into consideration. Something else that, as you're thinking through this, what are we going to do with every office that's in there if we choose to stay? Where are we going to relocate them for 12 months or 15 months until we could get that totally renovated? We'd have to displace them somewhere, because I think on the second page it says the entire building would be vacant. If we were to not vacate it, I'm sure the cost would probably increase because they would have to work around it as opposed to just coming in and, totally demoing the whole inside, the elevator shaft, all that stuff. This price does include a new elevator to renovate that will meet with ADA. So the elevator probably does not, does it, Adam? The one we have now?
That building's not ADA compliant.
They would have to, that includes rooftop mechanicals, brick tuck pointing on the outside. If you recall, at one point in time, the brick facade that we came back, this was after I was gone from the commission, but the brick facade that they dressed it up with actually kind of separated from the building. And they were concerned, Mr. Mankin told me that, or Ben was afraid it was going to fall out onto the sidewalk. So, but they went back in and resecured that, so I think it's in good condition. We paid money for that, and I think when Miss Allen was here, they thought about putting Drive It or the what else they call it, drive it, stucco, the foam stucco on the side, but they chose not to do that, so they just went in and painted the brick over there because the drive it is susceptible to, you can take a pin and punch a hole in it, and a lot of people walk up and down through there and scrape it, and then you got to come back and paint it. So these are all issues that we need to take into consideration as we move forward, and the cost. I guess the biggest thing, if we, it's very attractive to look at Goldstein's for $4.3 million. What's it going to cost us to relocate our current offices, and for how long? We couldn't move out of there and start anything with elections until after this coming November, because that's the midterms, and we can't disturb that process. Mr. Farley does want to stay on the square. I think it's an important precinct for us to have that. There is an interested buyer in Asheville that wants to buy it and put retail on the front and condos on top. Go to a 6-7-story building. Don't know if that's what this body wants to recommend, and then put it towards another building. But these are all things that we're bringing you a lot of information to make appropriate decisions. Adam, you got comments you want to add to anything I've said?
Question?
I got a question.
Commissioner
You're first.
Morgana?
Will the floor plan change of the building as you renovate it?
I would say so.
Okay.
Because I
Because
know
Tanya's on top of it.
Tanya is wanting to, because the state has moved out, she's wanting to move over into the mezzanine to give her some more room, because she's growing with her department. And so I guess probably need to ask Tanya, you're the only one here right now, but is moving into the mezzanine, is that going to satisfy you for the next 10 years? No, currently it will.
I entertain a motion to suspend the rules. So move. Have second? All those in favor? Tanya, come on up so you can talk to us.
This was not the plan tonight. Hi, how are you? All right, did you have some questions for me?
Well, I think what the committee wants to know is you said currently, so if we were to just make it into first-class office space with your current space, how long do you think that would hold you? With the projected growth of Rutherford County being the fastest growing county in the country, what do you envision as a director where you're going to be in 10 years, 15 years?
Okay, so I can only speak for my department. I've got 16 employees right now, and we occupy 1/3 of the first floor. The building, the Goldstein Building, as you probably all already know, has went through it's very choppy, very choppy. It's had modifications just here and there, all over the place. It definitely could be better utilized. And like the mayor mentioned, there is probably about 1/3 of the building that's unusable, that could be usable. If it was properly done, with how many square feet did you say there was in there?
20,000.
So when they did the office space study for our department and planning 4 years ago, I think, our new office study, we would have acquired about 6,000 square feet for my department. I can't remember what planning and stuff was, and that's currently.
You would have added 6,000, or you would have?
No, acquired, total.
6,000.
Currently, we're in about, I would say building codes is in about 2,500 square feet.
There's 2 departments in that
There's 3.
Do we
There's
count
actually
election as well?
Right, there's actually 4 if planning and engineering was considered 2 departments. If planning and engineering is considered 1, then there's 3 of us.
10,000 square feet per component is one way to look at it. It's 30,000.
department?
There's 30,000 square feet.
Total?
We're jumping all over the place here, I know, but 6,000 feet, that's the question, that was the answer.
Well, that was what the office study allowed for us back about 4 years ago. But we've also added employees since then, and I don't know how fast we're going to continue to add employees. I'm on about a third, yes, I'm on the very, very left of the first level. And I've got,
I can't hear. Commissioner Cook,
Commissioner Cook, can you talk in the microphone? We can't hardly hear you up
we're
here.
recording.
Will we renovate the basement?
Commissioner Cook, can you use the mic? There you go.
If we're going to renovate it, let's do all of it instead of piecemealing it, and every year we have to go in and do something else. I've been here 30 years, and it's been on the almost every year seemed like we had to do something.
well,
That is what's before you tonight, Commissioner, is to totally gut it and redo it on the inside, the 20,000 square feet.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Let's just gut it or whatever you have to do.
you'll see is
to
bring it up to a Class A office facility.
And it still leaves it over there then for you all next to the parking lot. That's why you don't want to move, is because of the parking lot.
well, we have, I know I can only speak for myself, and I know planning has a fleet of vehicles too. We keep our vehicles in the county, in the city garage overnight, and when we've got hailstorms and, other storms, it's just nice to know that they're not exposed, that they're not out there. We use that county or that city garage for our county
I
vehicles.
wish we could have some kind of parking where our constituents wouldn't get a ticket out there. Because that just does not sit well with me at all, the county place, and they don't have a place to park without getting a ticket. Because they're paying taxes
Well-
already. Why do they have to pay more?
So I'm really, really hoping, and I know planning and engineering are working towards the same thing, of going, we're going to be able to do a lot of our services and stuff online. So hopefully our foot traffic over the next 3, 4, 5 years will continue to decrease. That's our goal. I can't speak for elections. I can't imagine their foot traffic's going to.
More questions? Any more questions? Commissioner Gooch?
So what part of if we renovate it, we're not renovating, I mean, according to what's on the laptop or the iPad, we're not renovating the basement. We would have to add that in if we were to do that. And there was something that was said that not all of the building is still usable. Can you explain a little bit more of that?
So the basement level is, that space is utilized right now currently. There are several different departments from within the county that store files, election records in those areas. We are going to do some lighting down there. There'll be some mechanical HVAC that is replaced. It will be part of the tear out. All of the electrical, plumbing, HVAC, all that will be new.
And so, and is that part of the
Of that same
$0.3 million?
Yes, the 3.6. It includes, there will be some work done in the basement area, but the Class A is the first and second level.
And so it would be a total gutting.
Yes.
And I guess my next question, and we talked about moving departments for this time, is there any way that it could be done incrementally, or the third?
That is a possibility.
Or half and half, or whatever?
Yeah. We've already talked with Rock City about that, and it is a possibility. It might change the price, as the mayor spoke to earlier. We don't know what that price would be if there were other locations within the county that those departments could occupy temporarily, then we could do that. There's some space up there now that could possibly be utilized. So there are options for that.
Am I correct to say that it's kind of like 3 buildings
Correct.
into one? So I guess my thoughts would be, not being an engineer myself at all, could one section be renovated, and then the middle section, and then another section? Is that, you're saying that could be possible?
Yes, it could be. Because with them being 3 separate buildings at one time combined to one, then they're each independently, structurally sound independently.
Dodd?
Thanks, Chairman.
Yes, sir.
So your first number is $4.295.
Estimated.
Can we add the $3 million, $2,792,000 basement cost in the second component back up to the, could we remodel the basement for 2.7, do the rest of the building for 4.2 for a total of $7 million?
You wouldn't do that. What I was trying to do is give you an exact cost comparison for the 2,310 office space that Rock City is projecting for the remodel. The space, that remaining 10,000 square foot that you're referring to, that's space that we currently have already, but it's not usable for office space due to
Life safety.
multiple different things, ceiling height for one.
So so you're accurate, we would create 20,000 square feet of Class A. I just need to get the basement 10,000 feet out of my
And one
thought
more
process.
thing, one more thing I want to bring. They're remodeling a little over 20,000. They're turning a little over 20,000 square foot of space between the first and second floors into Class A office space. But currently, under the configuration, as y'all touched on already, the way it's chopped up, they're estimating that of that space, maybe only 14,000 square foot of that is actually being utilized now. So,
But the basement, if it was renovated along with this, would be suitable for storage.
yes, which to the office, like especially the election, they are required to keep a lot of paperwork, and it has to stay secure. So they actually utilize a great deal of that space down there with election records.
Is there a dampness issue right now?
No,
Everything's okay?
no. Which the air quality control, and as far as that, it would only increase. It would only become more efficient, with the remodel.
And just to be clear again, on the Rock City construction, you got the estimated total is about $4.3 million. Is that, but you've got 20,310 square foot. Is that 4.3 part of the basement also?
Look at that last statement on that front page. You've got an estimated inflation rate of between 11 and 13%. You can see what's happened with supply chain issues in building right now. We're trying to get $200 and something thousand worth of windows across the street, and it's taken us 8 months to get that. So I don't foresee it decreasing anytime. So, but then again, we can't start until after the midterms in November if we were to get the okay from the full commission to go forward. These are all things that this is a big step. We really need to think hard about it. Will this accommodate us for future growth.
I have one.
Commissioner?
On the Rock City, it is saying our price is based on new electric, gas, HVA system, and then it says if you want VRF system, please add 400,000. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yes, originally we quoted it's a variable refrigerant system, a flow system, which is, it's more costly, but it's also more costly to maintain in the long run, and it's harder to maintenance that system. So we went with more of a standard conventional system to save, it'll, yeah, $400,000+.
So we really don't think we would be
No,
requesting
because we spoke to Tanya, we spoke to the election, and I think we spoke with planning, but they said that they liked the idea of the open concept, and they wanted to stay with that concept. So when you do that, you don't have to split so many areas up in that manner anymore, because the offices are open and they utilize cubicles. So a traditional system made sense to save that money, because you don't need to break down the air in multiple offices.
So the 10,000 square feet per floor, each floor will be effectively, all the square footage will be effectively used, efficiently used. We'll gain 10,000 square feet of use.
Based on the space study that Tanya referred to earlier, the way Rock City has explained it to me, they could actually gain an additional 6,000 plus square foot of office space just within the space that we have now, because of how split up the building. The space is wasted. Virtually the entire right side of the Goldstein Building is wasted.
If I could be allowed, I'm just going to kind of unload just some high-level thoughts. Number one, I want to see some county business. I like those county businesses down here. I don't know if that's nostalgic or if it's proficient or what, but conducting business here is pleasurable to me. Having a county entity in a historical building is just desirable. And this building is in my district, and this business enterprise that we conduct, this service that we provide is in my district. So I, for one, want to see it stay down here, for whatever that's worth. Number two, just again, a high-level observation just to help unpack my brain is, I'm seeing this, your building cost are $177 a square foot, including the FF&E. The construction costs are $158.83 a square foot. If you'll catch up with me on the next to last spreadsheet page.
Yes.
So $158.83 a square foot is a pretty darn good square foot price to gain 6,000 square feet, or to fully utilize the 10,000, whichever way you want to look at it. So I want to point out, to me, that makes good fiscal sense, good stewardship of the tax dollar, to spend $158 and get functional space that's downtown, where I, for one, want it. I think the departments want to stay downtown, from what I've gathered. The Election Commission has been advocating diligently for downtown. The whole board's reached out to me and others. I think from our long-term space needs, Tanya's most recent data suggests 6,000 square feet was what y'all needed for the projected growth at the time. I think we can achieve that here. The planning and engineering want to stay down here, so I think they've indicated they can make it work. So for a lot of reasons, I'm just becoming pretty excited about this opportunity. I see it as an opportunity. If we grow out of the building, we still have an asset if we invest some money in this building, that we may just, the planning and engineering may expand, and we utilize building codes in another fashion. I can't see how that works out, but I'm growing very supportive of this path.
And then your mind starts going, well, okay, so where are we going to put everybody? Right now, I've got 3 offices up here on the 3rd floor that we could temporarily move somebody for 12 months because we moved IT and GIS across the street. I don't know how much we can pack in there or squeeze into those 3 offices, but it'll help some alleviate, moving of those departments on a temporary basis.
If I may, Chairman, and I think it might be worth investigating more thoroughly leaving the departments or a department in the building. The cost of moving them out and the inconvenience has some value. We may add a little cost to the construction, but it may prove valuable to add that expense and not have to move all 3 departments. So I'm just saying we could investigate that further and may come up with a better solution than moving everybody.
And I know that this building that we moved out of, Mr. Chairman, down here that Taylor Wright has listed that we moved probation out of, we could possibly go back down there and rent from
It's
again.
back for lease, but call her back up here if she can answer some questions for us.
I want to ask a question here.
Okay, go ahead. No, you still talking. You got any more? Go ahead, Commissioner Cook.
We have no figures on this. So, say that we let the city go to the building, Goldstein go to the city for them to have a business in it, for the city to have a business in it. The tax that they collect, how is that wouldn't that help? Tax of a new company coming in, paying taxes and collecting sales tax.
Would we receive any revenue from?
Well,
Tax?
if you sold the building, you'd put it back on tax roll. Okay,
Right.
so the city would gain.
What would they? Buildings come in. Property tax, what it would be.
I don't know what the value of a condo, apartment, retail building there would cost. I think we could probably sell it for $1 million. It'd take a long time for us to amortize a return versus what are we going to pay, even though
I'm
we got
just saying this just for something to think about.
Yeah.
Oh, we got time if you want those figures. Probably get Rob Mitchell involved, and he probably can give us a figure on approximately how much tax we bring in on property. But I call her back up here. Tanya, take the mic. I want to ask Tanya a question. We were talking about trying to keep a department in the building while we remodel. Do you see that this would be feasible, or do you see that we could do this, that we could maybe move 2 or 3 departments out and let them renovate while 2 or 3 departments are over there in one building and move on to the next? Do you see, since you're over there every day, that's the reason I'm asking you the question.
It would take some logistics, for sure, but I don't think it's impossible. When I was sitting down there and listening to you guys talk, the first thing that came to my mind was I have 9 field inspectors that work in the field the majority of the day, 5 hours a day. They spend an hour in the morning in the office and an hour in the afternoon. That could potentially work from their truck if necessary for a short period of time. So that would save up some space that could be. And I think planning probably has the same scenario. They have about 6 field inspectors that could potentially do the same thing. So that would certainly give us the opportunity to condense, the staff in there maybe to a smaller area while one area is being modified.
Possibly, we could do that.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Commissioner Cook, you had mentioned that that you were on the board for 30 years and that they put money into this building every year. I've been in the Goldstein Building for 22 years, and the only thing I can remember in the Goldstein Building getting done is new carpet and paint. And, there's been some repairs done over the years, to heat and air units and the roof, I think, yes. And we've had a couple of partition walls put up, and partition walls are put up quite frequently, actually, to divide offices, to create space. But that's about it. I mean, I don't recall in the last 22 years that I've been there any major renovations or any major cost monies being put into the Goldstein Building. So it's time. We love our building. I would love to stay there. But it certainly needs some work.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a comment.
Okay.
Okay, according to this, there'd be $2,792,625 plus $853,000 more to do something with the basement, correct? Is that right? Oh, this says new construction cost of 10,155 square feet. The basement with mechanical storage, $2,792,625. That would just be for storage, right?
Well, the building has to set on something.
Yeah.
So, and we have to, like, your elevator shaft, your mechanical, that area would be those mechanical areas, and storage. I included that because I was trying to get you the most accurate price comparison for the square footage that you currently own versus how would I compare the price of 20,310 Class A, office space square foot. So I just took that remaining 10,000 and the cost to finish that area as part of that, the 30,000 that you already have is just at a lesser rate because it's not office space. But it has to be, it has to be included for you to have an accurate comparison. Because that area still needs to exist.
Yeah, I had the same thought you did, Paul, but I'm clear now. Just the $4,295,218 creates Class A space on floor 1 and 2, and it remodels the basement to the extent that the storage will be more functional. The $2,792,625 down below is not to remodel our basement. I think Adam just put the phrase basement to try to clarify how we got to the equal square footage.
Yes.
The new construction is 30,000. Our existing building is 30. We got to, you and I have to get our mind off the fact that's not remodeling the basement.
Yes. Yes, sir. That's absolutely correct.
Hey, do we have any more questions of Tanya? I'm going to call the meeting. Committee, what you want to do with it?
Is time of the, I'm not real clear where to go next. I'm not prepared to advocate for spending $4 million. I'm an advocate for this concept. I just don't know if it's impulsive of us to make a motion for these dollars. Y'all help me here.
So, what I was going to do, I was going to ask the mayor to do a little bit more research because we're not the only player in this area. The city is playing in this area, and they definitely want that space. They're going to tear down buildings and do what's so on and so forth, and looking at maybe clearing it off, still on that motel concept in that area. We own half the property or something down there. I would like the mayor to go talk to the city and see if the city wants to buy half maybe, and then we can take that money and remodel the Goldstein Building, if they want it. I don't know, but it's more players in that area than just us.
You're referring to perhaps generating some cash from selling our half of the library?
Right.
Okay.
You know, but we
Okay.
can let the mayor.
Yeah, let me share with the committee what I know, and some of it may be speculation on my part, but from what I know and talking to folks at the city, is that I found out secondhand, and we confirmed it this past week, that the real estate business underneath WGNS, there's a little real estate office right there, they sold that 2 weeks ago to the city. The city bought that for $650.
$50,000, somewhere
Yes,
in
sir.
that neighborhood.
So their intent is to raise everything from the old police department all the way down, annex. They're negotiating with the car lot on the corner. They're going to turn right, go down and raise the old city hall and the water department. Their future design is to put a pedestrian bridge across Broad over into Mink Slide. And they're looking at developing that whole area as part of their long-term plan. So they do want to move in. They've indicated in the past, when we first started going to Woodstock, they had indicated that they would possibly work with the library along with us to move the library out into more neighborhood facilities like the adult education building they have at Hobgood. And because the city is expanding so much with their growth, they need that library, and they would like to move offices into the library. So it's a possibility we could negotiate with them if they're interested in buying our half of the library. So, but we can't do anything until after November anyway, so we got some time.
We got some time to see what they're doing, but, you know, if the city's a player.
We need to be involved with the city of whatever's happening in this downtown area.
Right. And then if the mayor can go and see what exactly is going on with the city and bring it back to us, that'd be more information that we can use in deciding that we're going to do the Goldstein Building, and where maybe you said you didn't like the 4.3 million cash deal, but we may get some money off of the project that's going on down there. And the reason I say that, because we've been partners with them for how long?
I think we partnered with them, what we found out today was 1989. We went in with them on the library parking garage.
We got that property down there. If we're going to renovate the Goldstein Building, we may not even need the property over there with this gazebo building, and we can probably sell it to them or see what they're going to do, and maybe generate some cash to take care of the Goldstein Building. That's what I'm thinking. And we got time. It's not something. The main thing we found out, the building is structurally sound.
We did.
That's what we found out. So we found that out, and now we got time to work on what we want to do.
If we can take it down to the bones, which we know is structurally sound, those bones are still good, then we can go in and rebuild it to Class A facility that will last us for a while.
The other committee member got any input to this? Now that's what I'm thinking. If I don't know, we don't need no motion tonight, but if we send the mayor out to negotiate, see what the city is going to do. Because they're talking about moving quick. They bought that building pretty quick, and they're talking about tearing it down as soon as possible.
Tearing down the library?
No,
The building.
where WGNS is.
WGNS, yeah. Then I would request that at our next meeting, we have an updated report on the city's intention, not locked in. That's
Sure.
too soon. But if we could have an update on the city's intentions, we've got good numbers from Adam. Revisit it next month, knowing that in the next several months, we need to have make a decision if we're not going to upgrade or not for the sake of our employees.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner
Mayor,
Buchanan?
can we double check with all the other departments to make sure that's going to be enough space for them to expand? 10 years down the road, is it going to be?
Well, I think as far as asking them, they understand that they're probably going to need it, but they really like their building and don't want to move.
Commissioner, maybe this might help. So Tanya recalled her space needs from the study. The calculation suggested she needs 6,000 feet. That was anticipating the growth rate that we're undergoing. Perhaps if we could hear from Planning and Engineering what their result was, and the Election Commission, and she and I could both understand, is 20,000 feet enough? So next month, update on the city and confirmation of the space need report specifically for election, planning, engineering, and building codes.
And we have that Gresham Smith space needs analysis that you all paid for 4 years ago, so that could be a template for them to base their projections.
If we could just remind us what that report said, that would help Veronica and I just.
You got a copy of that, don't you?
Yeah, we have a copy of that old space needs, because we did that before we started renovating the old judicial building.
If we built a building over there where the gazebo is, constituents park in the building there and not get tickets and so forth, because they'd be covered. I mean, they wouldn't, and it would open up retail for Murfreesboro on the square there. And ever since I've been here, we need more space on the square. We need more space. And this is what I'm thinking about. We're taking care of our constituents as well as doing something good for the county.
But with all these facts that we're going to get and brought back to the committee, each time we get a piece brought back to us, it will help us to make a better decision.
Sure.
And we're not in no rush. So therefore, I think that we're going in the right direction in bringing this information back to the committee. And we have a lot of discussions on it. We had a lot of discussions on the one-stop building, almost 2 years. So I just don't want to see us make a hasty decision with all these other things, with other players involved down here. And it's a way that opportunity, a way we can get out of this partnership, which hadn't been beneficial to us, you know. And then we may get some cash flow out of it to do the project we're talking about. Get that report back next month.
I'll work on it, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions on Goldstein Building? Okay, next on the agenda, Lane Agricultural Building.
Well, just right before we get over to Lane Ag, since it's not actually on the agenda, but Commissioner Buchanan, it was mentioned at last month's meeting, so your tree's down, so confirmation. We're waiting on one bid for your siting.
Members, this is a large pine tree that's out by the fire department.
Yeah.
Station 7.
Yeah, and Station 57, Station 57, and we had some complaints, so Mr. Dodd's come in and got it taken care of. We got the tree down.
And then to Lane Ag. That project, we can now close. These are the transitions.
This is where the car ran through the
Ag
That we were
Building.
waiting
Ag
on.
building.
The work is complete. So,
Work is complete on that. Did we
yes, sir.
absorb the cost on all that work, or?
No, that was insurance.
Have insurance to pay us?
Our insurance paid for it. Yeah, the gentleman who ran through it, I think, only had $25,000 of liability insurance. May have been less, but we had to eat it.
Question on the Lang Agricultural Building?
Do we
Commissioner
have to
Buchanan?
subrogate, will we subrogate that, or he just got free good, gone?
I'm sorry, what?
Will we subrogate that?
Well, not much to get. Okay.
Like costing $1 to get a dime?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, gentleman who did that tried to take his own life. He was in a issue, and so we had to take care of it.
Okay, next on the agenda, One Stop.
Adam, I guess the latest, I did sign a purchase order from Bart Klein for re-engineering the roof system because it saved us $300,000-$400,000 going to a redesign on that roof, on the trusses. The pricing had gone up because of the supply chain issue, so I signed that off. It was $5,000, I think, to pay Klein Sweeney to re-engineer the roof system, so I think we should be proceeding ahead on One Stop. That shouldn't have delayed us anymore. Then I think that's it.
Any questions on One Stop? Not an update on community care?
Community care, I talked to Tanner, the executive director out there today. The Gardner Construction Company out of Gallatin, he's finishing up his punch list to finish on the first wing, first phase and there are 3 phases. He's finishing up at that point in time. There are no other, we've paid him everything that is due him. And then we're planning on, he made the comment to Tanner that project is really affecting his business. Well, if he'd taken care of it, he wouldn't have affected his business, but we've already checked with legal. There is a clause in the contract. We're planning on separating ourselves from his services since it's taken him so long and he couldn't do it. So Tanner's been talking to a couple of contractors who we're planning on bringing in to finish phase 2 and phase 3. So on Generations Connected, which is the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week daycare facility, we've been working with Johnson Bailey, who was the original architect, or not the original, but the last architect that we used out there on the nursing home. They have already designed the daycare facility that will be placed right behind the current nursing home. It'll have a certified tornado shelter in it. It'll be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're constantly getting phone calls from our county employees who are really wanting us to hurry up and get that thing done. So I'm sure that on day one we'll be full. We'll be licensed up to 125 for that facility. Take approximately 2 years to build it. I was talking to Doug Bodery, Chairman of the Finance Committee today for the board, and we're probably just going to finance it as opposed to bonding it through the county. We'll let the nursing home actually take out the loan. I was able to get a rate from the state of Tennessee. Our borrowing rate from them is 0.0693%. And we'll probably finance it over a 15-year period, approximately $4 million to build the facility.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Buchanan?
the state also told me there's a lot of grants available for this particular facility, so I'll send that information to you also.
That's awesome, and Commissioner Buchanan's been very good in helping us. She's got some information since she used to be in that business. She's got a lot of contacts because we could go either, we can keep our current staff But we also want to explore maybe somebody, third party coming in and actually taking over the day-to-day operations and actually running it. So during this process of the construction, we'll be able to ferret that out as far as who would decide we want to run it. That correct, Commissioner Cook? Okay.
She's on the board.
She's on the board.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Any more questions on community care? Not. Any other business to come before us?
Yes, sir. I do have a couple other things. We're signing a contract, move to suspend the rules, bring up Deputy the Mayor Sandlin. If you'll come up and explain to us on the piece of property that the gentleman actually built his house on part of our piece of property.
Motion to suspend the rules? That's already on the agenda. Okay, we're going into, did anybody get this second agenda?
No, I didn't get it.
Yeah, it's in your stack.
Yeah, I got mine. I'm asking them if they got it.
I suggest that Mr. Gooch stay as an alternate on the property, on the delinquent tax roll. Anybody second that?
Hey, but wait a minute. I entertain a motion to adjourn. Second, okay, so the members that are not on this committee, subcommittee, they can leave. All right.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going into our delinquent tax committee discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mayor, committee members. This was a piece of property back on 624 Bragg Avenue in Smyrna. I had brought it up on one of our pieces at the very, very beginning of a situation there. These folks had actually built over on this piece of property, and so we had an issue right there. So I basically let our county attorney deal with it. And so what they did is they pulled up the original price of what these lots ran when they first sold, and offered them then the opportunity to, because they've actually already built their house. It meets the setbacks, but it didn't meet the setbacks on the side setbacks. Matter of fact, they've actually had I think part of the house, a bedroom or so, a bedroom I would say, this way over into this other lot. So the adjoining lot does have a sinkhole on it. So the price of the lot would have been very minimal. So anyway, long story short, we settled it out for $15,000. We got to do a quick claim on this property, and that's what we're asking for, is the approval for the county would do a quick claim, and they would pay us $15,000 for this lot.
Commissioner Cook, you make a motion that we...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, now Paul Johnson is making the motion that we go ahead with this. I got a second from Commissioner Cook. Now discussion.
Thank you, Chairman.
Commissioner Dodd.
Did we provide some leniency on how these folks can pay, or a time frame? I mean, that's a lot of money.
We're going to close it just like we would a normal real estate transaction.
In what duration of time?
It's a 30-day period of time. Matter of fact, if this is approved, then we will, or I say the county attorney, will close this property out in a quick claim of a purchase of $15,000. They will pay us the $15,000.
And that family's aware that they're going to, they have the 15 or required if they're aware within 30 days?
Yes, sir.
I don't want to inadvertently burden them. I don't know how this all happened. I support the motion, but we'll make sure they're
You don't
fully
want
aware.
to put hardship on that family.
Correct, yeah.
That's what
And if y'all are all, the attorney's comfortable and you're comfortable, I certainly glad to get this resolved.
Well, it puts this side lot that was county inherited, so to speak, back on the tax roll for a minimal amount, but it clears up their issue of their building problem, and it also, on a piece of property that the county before, we actually sold this property to them back under a tax sale here 4 years ago, I believe. It was right before I came to the county commission here, and they weren't going to sell this other piece of property, whatever the county decided on that, because it has sinkhole on this lot. And so this right here takes care of 2 or 3 birds in one stone, basically.
You know,
Will you go in and change the lot numbers and so forth and make it all one lot?
Yes, ma'am. The county attorney would be putting us all into one lot now.
Okay.
Yes, and it'd be putting all this into their legal description of their lot for this homeowner.
This will just clear up some problems on down the line for anybody.
Yes, sir.
any other discussion? If not, do we understand the motion? Call the roll. Anyone want the motion repeated or
No, not really.
call the roll?
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Chairman McAdoo?
Yes,
Motion passes.
motion passes. Any other delinquent tax discussion tonight? Not, I entertain a motion to adjourn from the delinquent tax committee. Got a motion, second? Motion to adjourn.